السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، عن هشام بن عروة عن أبيه رضي الله عنه: واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة، قال لا تمتنع من شيء أحبه. This is the 9th hadith in this book, Al-Adab al-Mufrad by Imam Bukhari rahimahullah. And this hadith is under the chapter of speaking gently and softly with the parents. The first hadith was the hadith narrated by Taysala bin Ayyash, who says that he asked Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu about some major sins. He was thinking he may have committed some major ones. Then Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu told him that those were not major sins that he had committed. And then he told him what were the major sins, and one of them was making parents cry. And then Abdullah ibn Umar said to him that if you're really afraid of hellfire and like to enter Jannah, make sure you speak softly to your mother. That was the first hadith in this chapter. The second hadith in this chapter is a narration on the authority of Urwa ibn Zubayr rahmatullahi alayhi. Urwa ibn Zubayr explaining the ayah of Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordering us about being kind to parents. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, that keep yourself very humble to them out of mercy. So what does literally janah al-dhul mean? Janah means wings, and janah al-dhul means lowering the wings out of humiliation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you take it literally, He's telling us that lower your wings for your parents out of humiliations for your parent, and to have mercy on them. And they call it janah al-dhul, the wings of humiliation, because when the bird keeps the wings down, it will not be able to fly. If the bird's wings are down, he will not be able to fly. Say if you see a bird that has the wings that are open, and you're really trying to catch the bird, this may be the time. If the bird is not too far and you want to catch it and get to it and be able to pick it up, if the wings are open, you have a better chance than when the wings are closed and he can fly right away. And there are other explanations of it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally is telling us, keep your wings down out of humiliation for your parents, so that you have mercy on them. So what does this mean? Keeping the wings down, how would it work in a real sense, and what does it mean? So Urwa ibn Zubayr radiyallahu anhu, he explained this ayah by saying, لا تمتنع من شيء أحبه. He says that never say no to anything they like to have. Never say no to anything they like. Whatever they like, don't say no to your parents for that thing. This is وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ, which simply means that a person should always try to keep the wishes of parents above his own wishes, which normally is the opposite. We always look at our wish and we say, they never care about me. As you have grown up now, you need to care about your parents' wishes. Yes, there was a time when they cared about our wishes more than their own. There was a time when the mother felt that she's very tired and she wants to sleep. But that night we did not let her sleep even for a minute. There was a time when they thought that they would like to go for outing and have some good time, but we were not feeling well, and because of us, they could not go anywhere. So they always kept our wishes above theirs. That was a time there. Now it's their time that we keep their wishes above our wishes. This is what Urwa ibn Zubayr rahmatullah alayhi says, that this is what وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلْ means, that always make sure that the wishes of your parents are above your wishes. Here we need to realize what is wishes. Amazingly, human beings most of the time in their lives are controlled by their hopes and wishes. I feel like doing it, so I do it. I feel like drinking a coffee, so the person drinks coffee. I feel like eating, so he eats. He's not eating because he's hungry. He's eating because he feels like eating. I feel like just going for outing, so he goes out. It's an amazing thing if you look at it, how we are controlled by our wishes. But I just wish to do it. I just feel like doing it. The person changes all the furniture of the house. Why did you change it? We felt like changing it. So, is this an answer? But to us, yes, it is now. It is now, really, these days, this became something big. Yeah, they felt like doing it, so okay. Subhanallah. This is how much we are controlled by our wishes. That I did it just because I felt like it. Is there any benefit? No. In fact, in reality, there may be a lot of loss in there, but I felt like doing it. This is something that we really need to learn in our life, how to control our desires, and more than desires are even stronger. Just wish to do something and we do it. We need to learn how to control it. We can't be the slaves of our wishes and our nafs. Eyes desire something, we let the eyes do it. Tongue desires something, we let the tongue say it. Our stomach desires something, we just fill it up. Subhanallah. We need to look at what is the reality behind these things. Are these things beneficial or harmful? Are these things good or bad? Oh, I don't feel good today. Ask yourself, that is your feeling really correct? Say for example, if you ask yourself, should I perform 2 rak'ah salah or should go out for walking? Let's go for walking. 2 rak'ah salah is difficult. So our feelings are not giving us right answer anyway. So we need to learn how to control these feelings. And we don't want to give up. Every time a feeling comes up, we give it up. Umar radiallahu anhu, he saw a person, and that person was a Sahabi also. That Sahabi had bought some meat and he was going back home. Umar radiallahu anhu says to him, didn't I see you buying meat last week also? He said, yes. So I said, how come you're buying it today again? So he says, ishtahayna. We felt like eating meat. Umar radiallahu anhu asked him, أَوَ كُلَّمَا اشْتَهَيْتُمْ شَيْئًا أَكَلْتُمُوهُ? Is this your life? Whenever you feel like eating something, you go ahead and eat it? Then the Sahabi says, Umar radiallahu anhu would not leave me alone. He kept on walking. He's Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imagine the situation now. Try to picture the scene now. That this person is walking with a bag of meat in his hand, and Umar radiallahu anhu is walking behind him. And he says he kept on just throughout the way. He's walking behind me and telling me, whenever you feel like eating something, you eat it. Whenever you feel like eating something, you eat it. This is what your way is? He says, I felt so bad that I wished I never ate a meat in my life. So, imagine, it's not that eating meat after a week was not good. You could eat it every day. But Umar radiallahu anhu's question was very important. أَوَ كُلَّمَا اشْتَهَيْتُمْ شَيْئًا أَكَلْتُمُوهُ. Whenever you feel like eating something, you eat it. This is not good. You need to learn how to control your feeling. So you don't just go by feeling. I feel like drinking this, so you drink it. Then I feel like eating this, then you eat it. Then I feel like having some sweet, and you see it. Subhanallah, the person throughout the day is looking for stores and different type of all kind of brands and this, and no, I want to eat this brand today, and today I want to eat this brand. So much into this. And then a person would travel half an hour. Why? Today we want to eat from that restaurant. Yeah, once in a while, when a person just to satisfy himself also, it's okay. But our life to be based on this. That every day, today I feel this. The other day I feel this. Then the third day I feel this. And these feelings, they keep on just going. So anyway, I was saying we need to learn these wishes and feelings. And once we control them, we will realize how trivial they are. In fact, they really have no value. Most of the time, when youngsters are disobeying their elders, it's not because elders are telling them something that is against the Sharia or something that is harmful to these youngsters. In fact, this young person doesn't feel like doing that. That's all. So he wants to keep his wish above his parents' wish. That's all it. If we learn how to control our wish and desire, we'll say to ourselves, so what? I feel this and they feel it. Okay, if they feel that, then I'll go with their feelings. That's all. You just tell yourself and your feeling is gone. You can just destroy your feeling that way. That feeling that came up, destroy it. And it's not that then you don't feel like eating anything. Even if it comes to that, that's fine. Don't eat. But this will make us learn how to change the wish according to the right things. Change it from this to this. Feel like eating ice cream. No, I'm going to drink tea. Totally opposite. Cold to hot. But I'm going to do it. So, wishes are nothing. Desires are nothing. Things that we just like to have, they mean nothing. Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, he went home, and I'm sure most of us, we have heard this name, Al-Hasan al-Basri rahmatullahi alayhi, one of the very well-known scholars of Islam, from the greatest of the tabi'een. In fact, I don't want to go into the detail about his biography, but I'll just mention one thing about him. He was raised in the houses of Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And his mother used to work in the house of Salama radiyallahu anha, the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Salama used to keep the child, Hasan. His mother initially was a slave, and inshallah this is why I'm using that word intentionally. I want you to keep it in mind. When that chapter would come, we'll talk in more detail about slavery in Islam. So his mother was a slave, and he was being raised in their house, in the house of Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, because his mother used to work for Salama radiyallahu anha. So Salama radiyallahu anha would take care of the child, and when he would cry, she would pretend as she's breastfeeding him, and it was the karama of Salama radiyallahu anha that he would have milk also. So she's like a foster mother to him. If Maryam alayhi salatu wassalam can have food without season, it's not difficult to understand Salama radiallahu anha having milk without a season. Karamat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah wherever He wants. And the barakah is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are not to compare between Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam, but sometimes this question comes up that when we look at the miracles of Isa alayhi salatu wassalam, they look much greater than the miracles of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But now you'll see it that compare the miracle of Maryam alayhi salam with having food without a season, and the karama of Salama radiallahu anha having a milk without being in that position, and you compare it, you see this karama is greater. So, Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, once he went home and he was used to performing Salat al-Tahajjud, he says, that night I didn't feel like doing Tahajjud at all. I'm trying to convince myself, I need to perform some Tahajjud. No. The nafs is saying no. So I said to my nafs, okay, I'm not going to just hurt you totally and go against your wish. You have a wish of not doing Salat al-Tahajjud, that's fine. Today I won't perform Salat al-Tahajjud. But then I won't let you sleep either. So he sat at the corner of the house, of the room, and he kept on doing adhkar and tasbihat until the adhan of Fajr. He says, since that day, never my nafs ever told me not to perform Salat al-Tahajjud. Fixing ourselves, controlling our nafs, our desires, our wishes. We need to learn that. And this is something that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught the ummah, and this is what we learn from our scholars, our ulama, how to control ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now, when He's telling us, وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, that lower the wings of out of humiliation for your parents, out of mercy. Urwa ibn Zubayr says, it means that don't say no to anything they wish to have, they love to have, which means keep their wish above your wish. And as I said, that becomes very easy when a person learns how to control his wishes. Now, let's look at the narrator of the hadith, who is Urwa ibn Zubayr, rahmatullahi alayhi. He is the son of Zubayr ibn al-Awwam. Zubayr ibn al-Awwam is one of al-Ashra al-Mubashshara, one of the first people to accept Islam. The cousin of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His mother was this sister of Abdullah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's father. Urwa was born during the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu. So he's not a Sahabi, he's a Tabi'i. But of course, being in that family where his father is Az-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, one of al-Ashra al-Mubashshara. His aunt is Aisha radiallahu anha, al-Mu'mineen. And his grandfather is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. His mother is Asma, the daughter of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the one who helped Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu at the time of the Hijrah. So of course, being raised in that family, he got all the khair and the blessings of that family. And finally, he turned out to be one of the greatest muhaddiseen and fuqaha of his time. To the extent that sometimes Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een used to come and ask Urwa questions about Sharia. He's not a Sahabi, he's a Tabi'i. But Sahaba sometimes would ask him questions. This was his level of knowledge. He himself says, 5 years before Aisha radiallahu anha passed away, I had acquired all of her knowledge. 5 years before she passed away. Which means he's saying, in the last 5 years of her life, there was nothing new that I could learn from her. I learned all the hadith. Of course, fiqh is different. Understanding of the hadith, she was much higher. But it means all the hadith and tafsir of Quran and all the things about the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, things related to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that time, I had learned and memorized everything from her during that time. And 5 years before she passed away, I had learned everything. And this is not just few things we can understand the knowledge of Aisha radiallahu anha. Aisha radiallahu anha, of course, as we know, that she was known to be one of the most knowledgeable people amongst the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. So Urwa, acquiring the knowledge of Aisha, in addition to that, then he went and started learning from all the other Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, like Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and Uthman radiyallahu anhu, Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu, many other Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a great knowledge of hadith, tafsir, fiqh, seerah, and everything that was related to the knowledge of Sharia. And finally, he got the title of Ahad al-Fuqaha al-Sab'a, Fuqaha al-Madina al-Sab'a. There were 7 great fuqaha in Medina Munawwara. 7 people who got the title of being faqih during the time of Tabi'een, and still Sahaba are alive. 7 people that were called the Fuqaha al-Madina al-Sab'a, the 7 fuqaha of Medina Munawwara. Urwa ibn Zubayr was one of them. During that time, when there is ilm, so much ilm and knowledge, Sahaba are still around, and people who got their knowledge from Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in are there. At that time, for a person to get the title of faqih wasn't easy. And then to get the title of being one of the 7 greatest fuqaha of the time. Getting to that level, it shows that he must be at a very high level of his ilm of Quran and Hadith and fiqh. Of course, after learning the tafsir, seerah and hadith, then he went more in more depth of the fiqh, and this is why his specialty was fiqh. So he became one of the fuqaha. He was more known by his fiqh than he is known by hadith and tafsir. This is to tell us that development of fiqh was not during the time of A'imma. It was from the time of Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, in fact, from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. With all of his knowledge of deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with, of hadith and tafsir and fiqh, of course, accordingly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with amal also, that he never missed Salat al-Tahajjud in his life except for once. Except for one day, he never missed Salat al-Tahajjud in his life. Normally he used to recite 7.5 juz in Salat al-Tahajjud every night. 7.5 juz in Salat al-Tahajjud every night. That was the amount he had fixed for himself. The same 7.5 juz he used to recite them during the daytime. So he would recite them during the daytime, and then he would repeat the same ones in Salat al-Tahajjud during the night time. So it's not Salat al-Tahajjud like ours, 4 quick rak'ahs, and we are struggling to keep up with that. No, this is Salat al-Tahajjud with 7.5 juz, and he says, I never missed it except for one night. And when was that? He went to visit Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, the ruler of his time. And he took his son with him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes he tests people, and especially when it comes to his own people, he tests them in a very strange ways. He went there. Abdul Malik said to his people that, we have such a great scholar here with us, mashallah, and his son is with us. Let's take him out for some entertainment, take him to where our horses are, let him ride some of the horses, some of the most expensive horses and camels, let him have some good time. Just like, if you have some real expensive cars and you say, okay, here, go and take a trip, take a round. So this is what he sent him for. And then he sat over there and he's talking to Urwa ibn Zubayr radiyallahu anhu, and asking him questions about different things that he was facing, situations about fiqh, rulings of Sharia. And then later the person came to inform him that while we were looking at those horses, one of the horses kicked him very badly and he passed away. So his son passed away there. He said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And they buried his son. While he was still there, it so happened that he had a disease in his foot. When they showed it to the doctors at the time, they suggested that we have to cut his foot, otherwise it will spread throughout the body. So they had no other solution. So in simple words, he was going to have a surgery where they were going to cut his leg off. They said, we will give you some anesthesia so that you don't feel the pain. He says, no, I'm not going to accept that. I don't want you to give me anything. Just go ahead and do what you have to do. They said, no, cutting the leg is not an easy thing. It's a very painful surgery. So you have to take something. He said, no, because my fear is I will miss the salah. If I take anesthesia, then I would miss the next salah that would come after the surgery. And I don't want to do that. They insisted and he refused it totally. They had no choice but to accept it. And they cut his leg. The people who were there then narrate that he started reciting the tasbihat. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah al-azim, Subhanallah walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah. He is reciting tasbihat. And we cut his leg. And throughout the surgery, he didn't even feel it. He didn't even move a bit. That's how much he was into the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After the surgery, in those days, now for them to close the wound, they didn't have these type of bandages or the way of sewing it. Yes, there was a way of sewing, but the best method that they used to use was putting that portion into boiling oil. So they said, now this is the most difficult one. Maybe you want to take a sip of alcohol, so at least for that time you don't feel it. For that moment you have a little less feelings. He says no. And they even went through that procedure while it is still reciting the tasbihat and no feelings. How could this happen? We know it. When you're busy doing something and your mind is really into it, someone walks by you, you don't even feel it. Someone talks to you, you don't hear the person. The person may think that you're ignoring him, but no, you didn't even feel it. This is how much your mind is busy doing what you're doing. Well, I didn't even know that. Notice that you came. Someone is standing next to you, and you don't even notice. This is how busy you are. Your mind is busy in that. Of course, those people were so much attached to the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that when their mind is busy in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they don't feel anything else. When he went back to Medina Munawwara, people came to visit him. And of course they are consoling him, telling him, I have sabr. He says, no. Really, my situation is the situation of shukr. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave me 2 hands and 2 legs. He only took 1 leg out of 4 organs that He gave me. I have 4 sons. He took only 1. And still I have 3. He gave me more than what He took from me. This is the ni'mah of Allah. If He takes all, I can do nothing about it. I will still have sabr. So this is really, I'm in the position of shukr right now. I'm thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He didn't take everything that He has given me. And of course, this is the time when people are tested. When the iman is tested. So that was the night when they had a surgery on his leg. He says that was the night when I could not perform Salat al-Tahajjud. That was the only night in his life when he missed Salat al-Tahajjud. From the time he got to the age of puberty. The next chapter is Babu Jaza'ul Walidain. Paying off the parents. How to pay off for everything that parents have done for us. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu narrates the hadith. عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يجزي ولد والده إلا أن يجده مملوكا فيشتريه فيعتقه. There is no way a son can ever pay or repay his father except if he finds his father being a slave. Then he buys his father and sets him free. Simply, the message of hadith is that there is no way of repaying the parents for whatever they have done for us. The hadith says, in one situation, you may be considered that you have repaid your parents. And this is, of course, the word walid used, but it's for both the parents. And what is that way of repaying it? That you find your parents being slaves, which means they were captives of war. They were captured in one of the battlefields. So you buy them, and then you set them free. If this ever happens, then you may say that yes, you have repaid your parents. Now we may feel, but for us, we can never be in that position. Of course, no one should wish his parents to be, God forbid, in that type of situation, so that I can repay. But remember here, this is not even for people that were in that time, at a time when slavery was there. It couldn't even work even those days. Why? The hadith says that if you buy your parents, your father, and then you set him free, if that was possible, that would be a way of paying your father off for whatever he has done for you. But this thing is always impossible. Why is it impossible? It's the rule of the Sharia that if anyone sees his parents being slaves and he buys them, the time you buy them, they get free by themselves. You cannot set them free. This is the rule of the Sharia. The time you paid for it, they are free. You can't say, now I'm setting you free. You don't even get that chance to do it. Not only this, subhanallah, look how careful the Sharia is about relationship. The rule of the Sharia is, if you buy any person, if there was a person who was slave and he is mahram to you. Mahram is not only in a situation of man and woman. Say, when you want to really know what is mahram, this is the rule of the Sharia. You take one of the two people and consider one of them to be a female, and then marriage would not be allowed between the two people, then you are considered mahram to this man. For example, your uncle is mahram to you. For example, now how do we know this? If you were a female, which means for your sister, your uncle, your father's brother is mahram. So he's mahram for you also. So the rule of the Sharia is, if anyone finds any of his mahram that is slave, that was captured in the war, and buys him, the time you buy the person, that person would be set free. This is the rule of the Sharia. Now, the next thing we may think, then is maybe in some situation you feel that you don't want to buy the person because it's going to be set free anyway. The second rule of the Sharia, if you see any of your mahram, not to talk just parents much higher than that. If you see any of your maharim that is being captured and you have the ability of paying off for that person to set him free, and you don't do it, it's a sin on you. Every penny you are using now is haram until you buy that person and set that person free. And the time you pay for it, the person is free. You cannot tell him that I bought you and I'm setting you free. Beautiful rules of Sharia. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if this was possible of buying and then setting the father free or parents free, and you do that, that may have been a way of repaying the parents, but you can't even do that. So there is no way you can repay your parents, in simple words. This is just like the ayah of Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا عَنْهَا. لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء. Those who rejected our ayahs and they were too arrogant to accept them, the doors of the heavens will never open for them. وَلَا يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةِ, and they will not be able to enter the Jannah. حَتَّى يَلِجَ الْجَمَلُ فِي سَمِّ الْخَيَاطِ, until a camel will pass through the hole of the needle. Which means, if a kafir says, can I ever go to Jannah? Yes, you can, if the camel can pass through the hole of the needle. Which means, you can't. There is no way. So, when you say yes, if the camel will pass through the hole of the needle, it simply means it's possible. If this was possible, then that would be possible too. Same thing here. If this was possible to buy the parents and set them free, then it would be possible to repay parents, but there is no way. The second hadith. Abu Burda radiallahu anhu narrates the hadith. Sa'id ibn Abi Burda says, the son of Abu Burda radiallahu anhu, he says, I heard my father narrating this hadith saying that I saw Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu while he was doing a tawaf, and there was another person from Yemen who was doing tawaf at the same time. That person had carried his mother on his back, and he was doing the tawaf, and he recited this poem, إني لها بعيرها المذلل إن أذعرت ركابها لم أذعر. I am her humble ride. If the camels shy away, run away out of fear for some reason, I never run away from my mother. Which means, whenever she needs me, she rides me and I carry her on my back. And here, this person did Hajj and he's doing Umrah and he's doing Tawaf, carrying the mother on his back. He did full Hajj, as other narrations telling us that this person did full Hajj carrying the mother on his back. Now he's at his farewell Tawaf, final Tawaf, and he sees Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu in the same Tawaf. So he asked Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu that, you see my situation, how I'm carrying my mother, did Hajj, did Umrah, did the Tawaf. Did I repay my mother for everything she has done for me? Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu's response was, وَلَا لَا وَلَا بِزَفْرَةٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. No, not even one breath she took when she was delivering you. Not even one breath she took when she was delivering you. And I'm telling you, we cannot take that pain for our mothers. The pain that our mothers took for us, we cannot take that pain for our mothers. Not only this, once someone asked, I think it was Abdullah ibn Umar or some other Sahabi, that have I paid my mother if I did all of this for her? And that person, that Sahabi replied, no, not even for one breath, because when your mother was taking care of you, she was always hoping to see you getting stronger, better, and have a long life. And when you help your parents in this situation, you think, I'm helping them for as long as they are alive. Which means you are not looking for them to live for very long. It's okay, for as long as they're alive, I'll do it for them. So you keep, not only this, I was thinking about it myself, that when we do anything for our parents, and I'm experiencing it, so I'm telling you, that when we do something for our parents, we say, inshallah, there is a lot of reward for it. So we are always looking for a payment. Not necessarily in this dunya, but yes, there is a lot of reward. When parents were doing all of that for us, they never thought, because I'm getting reward, this is what I'm doing. No, it's my son, I have to do it for him. It's my daughter, I have to do it for her. They're not really looking for any payment. And we are always looking for some payment. And I'm getting rewards. At least there is satisfaction over there. I'm satisfying myself. There is so much reward, so I want to do more because of the reward, because I'm getting paid. So we can never pay them for it. There is no way. Anyway, in this hadith, Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, Abu Burda radiallahu anhu says, after Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu finished his tawaf, he went to Maqam Ibrahim, فَصَلَّى رَكَعَتَيْن. Then he performed 2 rak'ah salah. You know, after tawaf, you perform 2 rak'ah salah. These are 2 rak'ahs that have to be performed after every 7 rounds of tawaf. Then he said to the son of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu, who was sitting next to him, he said, Yabna Abi Musa, O son of Abu Musa, Inna kulla rak'atayn tukaffirani ma amamahuma. Every 2 rak'ahs that you perform, they get you the forgiveness for everything you have done before these 2 rak'ahs. Between these and the 2 rak'ahs that you perform before them. Which means he is encouraging us to keep on doing as many nawafil as possible. Keep on doing as many nawafil as possible. So you do 2 rak'ahs, after half an hour, after an hour, you get an opportunity to do 2 more rak'ahs. So all the sin that you committed between those 2 rak'ahs and these 2 rak'ahs are forgiven now. So again, now you have a clean record. After an hour, you get an opportunity to do 2 more rak'ahs, so you perform 2 more rak'ahs. Here, now all the sins between those 2 and these 2 are forgiven. And of course, it's something if we just develop the habit of it. It seems difficult. There are a lot of things that seem to be very difficult in our life. But once a person gets used to it, they are very easy. We have people here from different professions. There are some doctors sitting here. If a doctor is asked to heal, to work on a small wound, you go to the doctor, this is what I have. Oh, that's fine. This is very simple. And he's going to cut it and take the pus out of it and put a bandage. Very easy for him. You go to a person like me. Oh, cutting? I can't see the blood. I can't cut. It's too difficult for me. I can't even see. The doctor is trying to give a needle to someone and I close my eyes. I can't take it. So, everyone, once a person gets used to his field, whatever field he is in, then, of course, things become easy. And whatever that is. Initially, glasses may be too heavy. After some time, you get used to having glasses. They're normal now. You don't even feel that you're wearing it. Time you're wearing the glasses and looking for them in your pocket. Brother Omar is sitting here. You tell him, we need a plug over here. Oh, very simple. For me, I can't touch the wire. It's life. I'm going to die. But no, it's very simple. Okay, it's only this much. And he does it. So, the point is, we need to understand that there are certain things that seem to be very difficult until we get used to them. Then they become very easy. But we have to go through the initial stage of getting used to it. Now, keeping that in mind, 2 rak'ah salah, every sometime, whenever you get a chance, every hour, every half an hour, every 2 hours. Oh, it's too difficult. But go through the stage of getting used to it. Let me just get used to it. And you would see, subhanAllah, it's so simple, it's so easy, that every hour, every 2 hours, you can easily perform 2 rak'ah salah. How long does it take to perform few rak'ah salah? 3 minutes? 4 minutes maximum? 4 rak'ah salah really doesn't take us more than 4 minutes. How difficult it is to take out a time of 4 minutes. Okay, now it seems, 4 minutes is not difficult, I can take that out. But problem is, having a place, I'm here, I'm there, I don't have the place. That also can be, we can always find a way when there is a need for it. When we feel a need to it, you find a way. You are 3 people together and you want to have lunch, and of course you don't want to share it, you'll find a way to go and eat at a place where the other 2 people won't see you. So, finding a place where we can quickly perform 2 rak'ah salah behind the car here and there, it's not that difficult. As I said, mainly is getting used to it. And especially for sisters who are at home, for brothers who are blessed and they are laid off. Because they were waiting for it. Ya Allah, I don't have time. I don't have time. Ya Allah, Salah, I don't have time. Fasting, I don't have time. Quran, Ya Allah, I don't have time. So Allah said, okay, I'll give you a lot of time now. So, for those who work from home or they're at home, they get time to spend in their office. Yes, even for those who have their own offices, they work in their office. Having that time is not difficult. In between things, you can just quickly 2 rak'ah salah, have a musalla there all the time, 2 rak'ah salah quick, and then go back. It's not really difficult at all. It's just getting used to it. Once we are used to it, then stopping it will be difficult. So, this is what Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu is encouraging us to do. He says, every 2 rak'ah, when you perform 2 rak'ah, get in the habit of performing the nafil prayers, then every time you perform 2 rak'ah salah, you get the forgiveness between whatever sins you may have committed between these 2 rak'ahs and the 2 rak'ahs you performed before this one. Subhanallah. By the end of the day, when you go back home and you perform your last 2 rak'ahs before going to bed, you go to your bed and you are clean. Everything you have done that day, inshallah, it's washed out. It's all clean. Some of us, we may be doing some type of work where you get dirty. You go and wash yourself, that's it. Every time you do the work, then you wash your hands. Then you do the next job and then you wash your hands. You do the third job, you wash your hands. At the end of the day, you go back home, you take a shower, you are clean. This is what it is. 2 rak'ah salah, then after that we are out in the dunya. And 2 hours, subhanallah, so many sins. Go another 2 rak'ah salah. Inshallah, everything is washed out now. After 2 hours, another 2 rak'ah salah. Even those things are washed out. By the end of the day, you go home, perform 2-4 rak'ahs before you go to bed. Subhanallah, you go to bed, inshallah, you are clean. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to develop these beautiful habits that we learned from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, and give us tawfiq to fulfill our obligations towards everyone and especially towards our parents and our deen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.